Hi, Stefan the BMW DIY guy. I'm doing something a little bit different today. When I'm not doing projects on my car, I'm frequently out riding my motorcycle. I have a Suzuki GSXR 1000, which is an amazing sport bike, let me tell you. And I've run into a really common problem. I was riding the other day and I looked down and my speedometer wasn't working. Or it thought I was doing 200 something miles an hour, which is not possible. So, the speed sensor is a very common thing to fail over time, and my bike is a few years old. So, I wanted to show you how to replace this sensor. It looks pretty straightforward, and as I started looking around, I didn't find any good videos on how to do it, which I thought, hey, I'll share this as well, even though it's something a little bit different for me. Now, you can find these sensors on eBay, either used or new, and I decided to buy new. For about new, they run about $100, give or take, and you can find them used for as low as about $30. I personally realized that in my case, my sensor has lasted almost 10 years. So I would like to replace it once and hopefully ignore it for another 10 years. When I looked at some of the used, I saw people that were spending 30 bucks buying a used one and then having to do it again about a year later, which doesn't make sense to me. So I decided to, invest and buy the sensor new. So it should be a really pretty straightforward install. It should be pretty simple, but I wanted to show you how to do it and make sure to share that information as well. I'm always looking to share, and this is a good place to do it. All right, let's go out to the bike. Okay, here we are out of the bike. Your speed sensor is right here, and it's really too bad that its connection is up here underneath the tank, because if you were able to disconnect it right here, or if the plug was right here, we could make this change in literally about 30 seconds. But your sensor is here with a very simple Torx bit connecting it, and the connector is all the way up here underneath the tank. So I'll show how to take your seat off, how to lift your tank, and then how to get to this sensor. And it's all going to be pretty straightforward and easy to do. Okay, so the first thing to do is going to be to remove the two bolts that's holding your seat down. You have a bolt on either side. I'm using a driver with a 225 Torx bit in it, and it will just come off. The other thing that I've got going on right now is I also have front and rear stands for my bike. I've got it up on the rear stand right now just to help, so the bike will stand up straight and you can see it better than if it was leaning over on its kickstand. You can do it with the kickstand, that's not a problem. Then it'd just be a little bit harder to see. So I've got it up on my rear stand right now. Okay, so the seat's off. I'll just set that aside. Be sure to put the bolts in a safe place. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to lift the tank and straighten the front wheel out. And you've got two Torx up here up at the top as well, and then the tank will lift up. So we'll get that next. So let me get out the right Torx bit for that. There are two 25 Torx bits right here, or Torx bolts, excuse me, right here at the top of the tank. So you want to pull both of those out. When you have both of those out, your tank will actually lean up. So carefully pick it up, and this is why we have to take the seat off. Carefully pick your tank up. Now I've got a piece of scrap lumber that I'm going to put against the base of the structure here, so the support frame of the bike, and in with the tank. And as you can see, the tank is propped up now. Now, where the sensor is here, you should be able to see where it feeds up and feeds through into the connection. And we should be able to pull this all out. Now, it appears to be a 25 Torx for me all the way around. 25 Torx to pull the seat off, 25 here at the top, and 25 here right on the single bolt that's holding the sensor in. So I'm going to back this bolt out now and pull this off, which now makes my sensor loose. Now, the one thing I am going to do, and it's going to be a little hard to show, so I'll get the camera and show you a little bit tighter. So where this comes up and into underneath the tank right here, it's really connected down really, really well. There's a bunch of ties. There's a couple of zip ties holding it down. I can see the plug, but we're going to have to remove a couple of these zip ties to be able to pull this plug out all the rest of the way. So, and there's also a connection right here at the bottom, right as well, that we're going to have to back off. And it's a little wire connector right here that is wrapped around. It's like a claw that goes around the cable. So all I did was just gently pry that back, and now that's loose. And I'll be able to get to the cables here underneath. So let me pause for a second, let me get the camera, and I can show you what we're actually looking at here on the inside. Okay, so the sensor's out. So I pulled the 25 Torx bit Torx bolt here. You can see that sensor is here. You can see this little bendable wire holder. And all I did was gently pull this back and fed the wire and pulled the wire out of it so it's loose. Now when we look up in the compartment here, hopefully you'll be able to see, and I'll try to do my best to show it. First is this cable tie right here. Now this cable tie is not a zip tie. It's actually a cable tie where if you lift the tiny little tab, you can pull the end free. So then you can pull the cable out. Now you'll also see right here, for me, I have a tiny little zip tie right here that I'm going to cut. And then you can see this is the cable that we're trying to get to right here. And we'll just walk this plug off. We'll insert the new plug. We'll stick it in with a cable tie that's down here. After feeding it through, and we'll have to feed it through from this side first. We'll feed it up through this side, feed the plug in, feed it up through here, plug it in, put the zip tie back on, and then re-secure it back here. And then our new sensor will be done. So like I said, this is a pretty simple, straightforward repair. Really, really easy for you to do, and there's no reason why you would have to have a dealership do this if you can just do it yourself. So let's do that now. The new sensor's in, I've already secured it. It just simply slides into place. It actually made almost a little bit of a click when it went into place. I've secured it with the 25 bit Torx bolt. I've curled this wire holder back around the cable to make sure that it holds it really, really well. And after I fed it up through into the compartment up here, as you can see, our little cable holder is secured down and nice and tight again with the cable on the inside, and then it's plugged back in here. There's really only one place it goes. Now, when you go to take this out, you're going to want to put a small screwdriver blade under, let's see if you can see it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to see. Under the little tab right there, and lift that tab, and then the plug will slide out of the plug here. It'll slide out, and when it slides back in, make sure you get a good click, and it's set. So, sensor's all back in, everything is secure as it should be. Now it's just going to be a matter of just putting the tank back down, and we're good to go. Tank and seat for that matter, and we're good to go. All right, let's get that done. Okay, so everything's buttoned back up, and as you can see, we're reading 0 on the speedometer at the moment. But if I reach back, spin the wheel, yes, I have a speedometer reading now where it was really inconsistent or not at all before. So, like I said, this is a really simple fix. There is no reason why you couldn't do this yourself. And without having to film it and do all that sort of stuff, you literally could get this done in less than 10 minutes. So if you have this problem, just go out and look for the sensor. You can buy the sensor, and I'll link it in the description. And you can do this work yourself. Why would you spend that much money to have a dealership do this where they're going to charge you half an hour minimum when you can do this yourself in probably 5 minutes? So please go ahead and look at the comments and look at the links for links to this part. I welcome if you want to subscribe, please click on the subscription, and thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.